friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show. And today you guys were on episode 223, Being Real About Invisible Illness. And if you guys seen the title, you'll see the special guest is my mom. I'm so excited. This is her second time on the show, but she is no stranger to the podcast or the show at all, because if you guys know, she has been researching and helping me for years on the show. She's always been in the background helping us find articles and stats and all of that, and just being an absolute cheerleader. You know, when people, some have those cheerleader moms that support you in everything you do, that is my mom. So I'm very excited today to be able to highlight what we've been going through, what she's been going through, and what she got diagnosed at 28 years old, and our lives and how that has affected us with her invisible illness, and what it's like to be a daughter of someone with invisible illness, and what it's like to go through it just out in the world and everyday life, and how that completely changed our worlds when she did get diagnosed. But before we get on to this amazing episode with my mama, I just want to remind you that if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or Rumble, to subscribe, turn on those notifications, comment for engagement, you guys. I really appreciate it. You can do that right now. Let me know. You can leave a review as well if you've listened to a few episodes. It really helps. And the views are just coming in, you guys. I'm watching the follows go up and up every single week. I cannot believe it. So I really appreciate it. I see the reviews going up. I see now we have 23 5 stars. That is incredible. That's all thanks to you guys and the listeners. And so I just cannot share my gratitude enough. And if you're trying to find me on social media this year, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. And I hate to say it and kind of love to say it, but I've got no episodes left to be booked for the season, you guys. So if you are interested in coming on the show and sharing your experience in whatever topic that may be, please let me know and I will sign you up for season 10. Holy fuck, that will be starting September 2025. So please reach out to me on social media, or you can email me at theberealbabe@hotmail.com if you are looking to get on the show. But I'm going to shut up and we're going to get into this amazing episode with my mama. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today, I have the most specialist guest returning, the best person on planet Earth. I'd like to welcome back to the show my mom. Hey, mama. Thank you so much for joining me again.
No problem.
So being real, babes, because that's what we are on the show, not perfect. I dragged mom for this a second time because our audio wasn't kind to us the first round, so round 2. So apologies if we trip up and think that we said that last time, because that's probably going to happen. Did we say that? Did we say that the first time? But anyways, shit happens, but I'm excited because I'm not excited. It's such a weird thing to say I'm excited because this is such a pain point in your life, but also it's been something that has grown us together and strengthened us as well. So it's one of those balanced things that you try to find the positives to, but they come with some heavy too. And that's your invisible illness, which we'll get into. But before we do that, let's talk about early mom. So before the diagnosis, when you're a kid, what was life like? Did you know then that you had an invisible illness, or did you have a knowing it all?
Well, I would probably think, looking back on it now, I would probably think yes.
Yeah.
You know, what would be, somebody would say growing pains in your legs. I'm not quite sure if that's what it was. Period cramps were ridiculous at that time. Yeah, there was a lot of different things going on when I was younger, and I've always had, which the doctor back then, because they've evolved, the doctor back then said I had a ruptured breastbone.
Oh, okay.
So even when I was young, I would have pain in here, and that's the one that took me to the hospital that time,
Mm,
right? It's the same
yeah.
thing, and I've kind of grown with that, but I've had that since I was young,
Younger.
and that is just that pain in there in the ribs. Ooh, that's like the worst. Probably people know that when they get tattoos in the ribs or whatever, but this is
Yeah.
like so much better, worse. I mean, it's like you can't breathe. Like, yeah, mm-hmm. It's awful. So
There's
yeah,
some
I kind
pains.
of
I
yeah
I would relate it
yeah
to tooth pain for real people. Like that's what like that kind of pain where it's like it's painful and you hate it and it's the worst and you can't get rid of it. That's like tooth pain. I think everyone can agree like, oh, tooth pain's the worst. That's that I pain for you, I think.
yeah. It's actually it's that it's kind of it can get up to that level where you just you can't shut it off, and it's horrible. Yeah. So yeah, I did notice things when I
Yeah.
was younger, but I didn't even think about it. Like now I think about it because you have no choice. But yes,
Well, fair. And
there
when you're a
was.
kid too,
But
you're not
yeah, you don't think
right.
that.
You don't think about
You
those
don't even
things.
think
You're,
about that. You just think
no.
that's the way life is. Like whatever,
This is
carry on.
normal.
And I was active. I was a dancer. I played ball. I later on I was at the gym. I loved to
Yeah.
dance out. I went out to the bar and dance
Yeah.
like crazy
Before
because it
I
was my
came along.
favorite thing. Well, and a little bit while you
And
were
well,
there.
a little bit, yeah. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
And
That's allowed.
yeah,
You're young.
yeah.
You're young.
Full disclosure, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And
That's how I
yeah,
became
so
good at dancing.
I was always very active that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was
Hmm.
very fit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
until
think
I
too,
wasn't.
like, yeah, that's fair. And I think in spirit and all that now you are too, right? Which is the part I think that you find most frustrating. It's not that like you have no desire to go and do those things. It's not that it's not any of those things. It's not just like, oh no, I have no desire to go traveling or I have no desire to go to the gym or become a part of a sport or whatever. Like maybe not, but you know what I'm saying? Whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Or like boxing or when you come here do my cardio classes or something. It's not like you don't want to do those things. It's the
Oh
physical
my God.
limitations of your illness
I
that
don't want to do those things, but I have to say that I love to watch that you would do what I would and have done. So
yes,
it's
and
kind of
that's why I
neat.
do that
And
so
it's like,
much.
yay!
And
Right?
honestly, like, and that's one thing too, Mom, is like, for starters, that's one of the biggest reasons why I do push myself on days that I maybe don't feel motivated or any of that. And like, 100%, again, going to some of the silver linings of, what's happened is that it's made me be so grateful for every day that I don't have, you know, this illness or I'm not diagnosed with something, whether that's yours or whatever it may be. Like, I really try to be grateful and take the opportunities while they're there because I know that you can't. And so it's like I'm kind of honoring you and myself at the same time, if that's weird, just being like, oh, that almost made me cry. Just being like, I don't know, just like mom can't do this. And if she could, she would. So if she was here, she would tell you to do it. Like, you know, if you're like, we're like, oh, we'll call your mom like you're being a bitch. And it's like, no, I'm like, I'll do it myself. Like she motivates me. She doesn't have to tell me I'm being a bitch. Like, you know, I'll do that all the time for you, right? Not for you, but you know what I'm saying? Like in honor of and because you can't kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I, I love that you go the way you go, you know,
Yes.
because
And I
you
was
go
scared.
like my brain goes.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's how I know how frustrating it is for you to have all this energy pent up inside and not to be able to physically exert it, right? Because same energy, same vibe, same creative brains and motors and different channels are helpful. But when you're physically limited, you don't have as many channels, right? Or you can't use those channels as much. And so you have to kind of like shift on what those channels are. Right now, I'm able to physically move my body to get that energy out. And I feel super grateful for that. And I know for you, you wish you could do it too. But there's just, and you do have your times where you can not obviously do boxing or something like that. But you know,
No
you're
way.
I'm sure you'd like to throw some fists sometimes, but at
Oh, I
least with
would like
walks
to.
and in
That
your
would be, yeah,
it's
that would
funny
be
the
great.
different channels, right? So it's like I'm always just like, hey, you can physically use this avenue, do it while you can, because we've talked
Yes.
about before, like that fear of me being like any day you could be diagnosed like mom, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you just don't know when it's going to come or when it's not going to come. And I mean, I realize age comes and that happens to everybody, but not when you're 25 years old or 20 something years old, or
Yeah.
actually, yeah, well, I mean more, but yeah, when it just really starts taking you down and taking control of your life. And
And
I
changing.
and I really didn't want it to take control of my life. So I kind of fought that for the longest time too. And I just kept going. Like I had Fibro when I was working, and I was, you do lifting, you do transfers, you do, you know, heavy stuff, kind of some nurse stuff, right? So just kept going and ignored it all.
Typical women's.
The best that I possibly could. I mean, you helped through that, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for me, unfortunately maybe for you, you had, oh, you know what, now that I think about it, well, it's kind of good that you did chores.
Yeah, I know that you think that. I know sometimes you have some guilt, and I mean, fair, right? Like, but we were just doing the best that we could with what we had, and it taught me a lot. Like, would I say at a first adult, was I a little bit lazier when I first got on my own, being like, okay, I don't have to do these chores, but like, the thing is now I look back is that that I thrive on structure. So it is good to have the structure chores in a structured way because that is what worked. But as a kid at the time, it felt very like, not military, but so now it's just like, oh, I get doing that. Like I have my certain days I clean the house, so it was, but at the time I was just like, you bitch. And at the time too, I didn't understand. And I'm not going to lie. And we've been honest. It's like at the time before I fully understood fibro and what you had and what you're diagnosed with, I was just like, yeah, you fucking lazy bitch. You're just making me clean your house. Not like that,
Absolutely.
but like at like 12, 13, you're just like, why am I cleaning the house? And why is my mom lying on the couch? You know what I mean?
Of course. Exactly.
But I mean, obviously I didn't know. And then once I knew, then things changed and then I was helpful.
But that didn't, and I don't know if it helps you very much either to not get into the details of it, because once again, like you said, I don't want to freak you out about things that could possibly come to you. So, I mean, it's an understandable that of course a kid, because adults can't even deal with it, but of course a kid is not going to understand that, and it's going to look at it like, oh, she just doesn't want to do it. All I could say to you is I'm really sore right now. I can't do it. I'm really exhausted right now. I can't do it, whatever. And it is what it is. It was a learning curve for everything. I mean, I didn't want to put too much on you. You're a kid. But in the same token, I'm putting much on you because you're helping. It's like, so.
And at least I was at the age, right? Okay, so you had me when you got pregnant with me when you were 19, and then you turned 20 in October, and then I was born in December, so you're just 20, and then obviously didn't have fibro then, or well, I mean, like you weren't diagnosed then, right? So I had a couple years, so I was like about 7, 8 years old. I think that's when because you said how many years since you've been diagnosed?
Oh, this year's 30 years.
Right. So 30. Yeah, so I'm 38. So yeah.
Good time to be doing. Right?
Yeah, 30 years. Congratulations.
So diagnosed, but then years before that, right? Like,
yes. What happened?
Which was really started affecting me. So, I worked a lot of graveyard, evening shift, day shift, pop, like one right after another. So, that really kind of messed up your sleep patterns, your whatever also, right? But I still, the sleep was a big thing that changed. I was not refreshing. Yeah. Like people wake up in the morning and I was not, like, never refreshing, never felt like I recuperated from sleep. Like when I go to sleep, I was like, okay, I go to
run a marathon
hours and I'll feel better. And it's just like, no, I'm not feeling better. Yeah. So that was like a big thing. And I wasn't recovering from things that I shouldn't have had a problem with. Like, I would go golfing on Friday afternoon, and the next thing you know, on Sunday I can't walk, and I don't know how come I can't get off the couch and I can't walk. Like literally could not walk, and I was like,
"This is the first time I'm walking in my life."
Yeah, like just the pain was too much, and I just couldn't even get off the couch, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And then, so, that Sunday is not getting better. So you're calling in work on Monday because you have no idea what's happening to you. Like, and this just started consistently happening. And like work, get a frozen shoulder, work, get a back injury, and it all compiles. So, but I just kept going. Like, I just I'm a single mom. I've got a kid to take care of. Like, I got to work and I got to do things. And I tried to live my life like a normal person and just
put it away.
Just whatever. And yeah, things end up being more on you, but at some points, but just try
You
to
kind
do
of
the
have to
best I could.
disassociate from what was going on in a sense
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah, like yeah, well, because it's what you did. Who cares? You're hurting.
Shut
Freaking
the fuck
go to
up.
work. Yeah,
Yeah. Nut up.
deal
Shut the
with
fuck up.
it. Whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like, just
Who
deal with it.
doesn't hurt?
Right? Like, exactly. Like, okay, so why am I special? But
Yeah.
whatever.
Gaslighting
Um,
yourself too, right? Which I think moms do, which I think is really hard. And I think that's why a lot of people don't get diagnosed with this right away, is
yeah.
because if you're a young mom too, and or around the age that it says here that, and I'll go over this in a second, what your like quote unquote diagnosis is in Wikipedia, but it does say, it's around the age where you were younger, but it is like between 30 and 40, 45 as people get diagnosed. And most women, for the most part, are moms at that age. And so it's really chalking it up to being like, oh, I'm a mom, or I work out, or I'm working so hard, and like all
Hmm.
those reasons as to why you're tired. So then you don't, and then you go to the doctor and they're just like, oh, all your blood tests come back fine, all these tests come back fine. It's like, we don't know. And then it's like to the point where you got to where it was like absolutely like fucking up your whole life. It's like you probably did obviously have onset of it years ago, but because we dismiss as women, but moms are the worst. I think that's what like has like people being diagnosed later in their 30s versus like, in their earlier 20s, kind of like mid 20s,
Yeah.
like you did, I think
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. Well, I just couldn't figure out what was going on, and like had to go to the doctor for it because I was like, that would be missing work, and I couldn't understand what was happening to me. Like, I thought I was literally crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I one other thing, like, which I mentioned before, was like I used to go and watch Grandpa play ball.
Yeah.
And I've always watched them play ball. I've always kind of been at rec park. It's kind of a thing, and I guess my butt hurt 2 days, 3 days after so badly, and I just like, what happened? It was like I was completely bruised, and I thought, what in the hell? And then I kind of put it together. I sat there for a couple hours, and I thought, okay, this is weird. Like, there was a whole bunch of weird shit, and I'll do my symptoms later, and
yeah.
all these different things started coming at me, and I was like, what is going on with my body? Like, something is going on. And at first you get passed off, whatever, you need to sleep more, maybe you should need to exercise. Do you realize that I go to the gym? Do you realize I go to the gym? Hey, do you realize that I walk to work 45 minutes one way and 45 minutes the other way, go to the gym, really dance, I do a lot of exercise, and I don't think that's it. Okay, right? But the sleep was just, and the fatigue. The fatigue is weird. It's like after you go to the gym where your muscles don't want to work and they're so tired, like they're exhausted, like they're like, it's like having a whole bunch of extra padding on you and you're going to walk. It's like having a heavy suit on you that you're trying to, and every muscle that you're moving is like that. So it's like that fatigue, and when it comes at you all the time, it's like a woodpecker. It's like, ooh, and you try not to be irritable, but you get irritable.
100%. And then you're
right?
not, like, and you said, resetting too at nighttime.
And so trying to push that down because you don't want to be that irritable, screamy person. So that took a long time to deal with too, right? And so you're holding things in because, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Yeah. No. So, and of course the pain that's a whole other thing, right? Your whole body.
Like the main thing, but
well, you feel like you got hit by a truck a lot of times. It's just like, holy, what happened? Like your whole face is fatigued and you're just like, you're like a zombie because your pain and your fatigue, and you're just like, okay, I'm not functioning. Like, I'm not, and I can't take things in, and I'm
disconnected.
And I didn't realize it was because of the pain, and I didn't realize that pain can make that happen to you. And I was like, okay, so I had a lot of learning in the last.
A lot of learning.
Yeah,
30 years, I guess. Okay, so that's fair. So then we're coming up to being diagnosed. So, and you can explain a little bit more of the myofascial, but we'll start with fibromyalgia because that was like, I know there's other things, but that was like the front of mind, and that's what most people would be able to know if they were to understand what invisible illness is. And when I'm saying invisible illness, I'm saying that from a perspective of a daughter of someone who's had this since she was 8 years old. And even though I can see it, people in my life can see it, like Grant sees it, like my friends see it, there's some people that don't. And actually, what's crazy is it actually says this in Wikipedia. And so when I say invisible illness, people will understand that have it. When I say that is that, well, people will say, well, you look fine on the outside. It's kind of like a mental illness. Well, you look fine on the outside. And it's like, okay, that doesn't mean anything. Just because I don't have a broken leg, it doesn't mean my leg isn't hurting. Like there's still pain that can come. And, you know, like, and to further back that, if you've ever talked to like someone that has lost a limb, they'll talk about phantom pain, and that they still feel pain in a foot that maybe no longer exists, right? So what people have to understand is a lot of things are neurological. So the pain might not be like something's hurting your leg, but there's neurologically, it's triggering the same pain as if you're like lost a leg or something. Off. It's not shutting off. It's not chilling the fuck off.
Yeah.
And cannabis doesn't help as much as we would hope. But so what is fibromyalgia as per Wikipedia? And it'll validate a lot of the things that you said. So it's saying it's a functional somatic syndrome with symptoms of widespread chronic pain accompanied by fatigue, sleep disturbance, including awakening unrefreshed, and cognitive symptoms. Other symptoms can include headaches, lower abdominal pain or cramps, and depression. People with fibromyalgia also experience insomnia and extreme sensitivity. The causes of fibromyalgia are unknown, with several pathocytes. People with fibromyalgia are sometimes accused of imagining their symptoms.
Yeah.
So just a little bit on the history, and then we'll go through what your symptoms. I just thought that was like, you didn't read this before. I didn't read this to you before. I wanted to hear what you wanted to say, because it was just like, when I read it today, I was just like, whoa, yeah, exactly that. Like, not to be that way, but I was just like, yeah, no, that, yep. So it's saying fibromyalgia was first recognized in the 1950s and defined in 1990. That's crazy. 40 years being recognized and then defined 40 years later. It's updated criteria in 2011, 2016, and 2019. It estimates to affect 2 to 4% of the population, which women are the most affected. And it's a variety, it's across cultures, like it's a variety of cultures and among the world. It's not just like a Western illness, it's across the world. There isn't, there's short-term pain relief, but there's nothing that's long-term fixing. And, but it's also not, there's no comorbidities, you don't die from it.
Yeah.
No offense, that's exciting for me.
They used to say that it doesn't like spread or anything like that. Like, so before when they early age they did trigger points, and so if you had 11 trigger points in your body, and then usually on both sides.
Okay.
When I went, I had like more.
Everyone. Oh.
but
top the charts. Good job. Mom.
Yeah, but there was also there are other issue that I was having too, and most people that have fibro, they actually have more than one.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that have chronic fatigue syndrome is what they call it.
I see. Other diagnoses.
Other diagnoses, like, other that or lupus or something.
Autoimmune diseases.
Autoimmune stuff, yeah. So,
and I wonder if that's because your body's constantly fighting the like pain or the, you know what I mean? Like, is it tired and it's wearing out, so then you're more susceptible to whatever triggers autoimmune sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's a part of it, because your body's like tired.
That's what you feel like. You're like done all the time. But yeah, for me, and I also, like, for me, I have myofascial pain syndrome, which is I feel like it's worse than the other part. Well,
fair.
It's weird. It's a weird thing. And I have bands all over my body. So to explain that a little bit, and the best way I can explain it if somebody asks me, because it's very hard to explain what you have to somebody who doesn't have, because you have to feel it to understand it. So you already feel defeated even trying to explain it. But
yes, fair.
For me, I have, you have your skin, you have your muscle, you have, say, a chicken. So you have a chicken, and you're going to peel off the skin, and there's that white clear stuff that's in between the skin and the meat, right?
Yeah.
That's like
a
your
layer.
fascia. Yeah. So like your fascia. So in me, I have my fascia, which goes into knots. Like everybody has knots, but whatever, it goes into knots, and they form into like bands, even into bands, not just circles, it's into bands. And I have them everywhere.
They gang up.
Like everywhere. And they hurt to touch. They hurt to push on. Like before somebody would push on it and push on my back and could knock me to the ground with their thumb. Like
Yeah.
It hurts so bad. And it causes extreme tightness with everything. So it's like, here's an example. So I try to do some things, right? So if I go out and I'm sitting in a little step stool type thing, and it's actually cushy, so otherwise my butt would be way too sore. Which, and it's not a big deal to other people, but to me that is huge.
Yes.
And a raised bed, and you're just sitting there, right? Like right in front of you. You're just sitting there trying to pick weeds or whatever. So later on, you try to go to bed, your legs are just throbbing. And it's like, because you went forward and you did like that, and so it stretched all these bands, and it gets pissed. So if you overstretch, you end up being in a lot of pain. Like they always told me way back when, don't overstretch. If you overstretch, this is what's going to happen. And then it'll cause more bands. So you have to be careful, right? So you're trying to get rid of it.
It's like the opposite, because when people are like, oh, you're sore, it's like stretch it out. And it's like, for you, that's not always going to be the best thing to do.
Well, and I try to stretch them out, but I have to micro do it. I can't just go, okay, I'm going to take that exercise somebody gives me and I'm going to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? Because that could come. But sometimes I do it and it's okay.
Like, yes, it's really all depends.
You just don't have a freaking clue of you know what I mean? Like the weather can change it. Oh, okay, so a certain weather. So rain's coming. I can do a certain thing when the rain's not coming. But if I did that when the rain's coming, that changes everything. Like, it is so
why we love the Okanagan when you come up, because it's desert heat.
Yeah, it's very complicated, right? Like it's a very complicated thing to understand. Like and my big bands or whatever all around, like let's say my hip, not top, like right here, where people get bursitis, and all through here, all through my back, and I used to be very heavy up here.
Yeah.
And
we don't know, Cam. We don't know.
Too. I know, but that was from getting heavier too.
Yeah,
so that's helpful. To the point where you're like a G in a body that's not supposed to be one of those. And so I had to go get a reduction because I just couldn't, like, wearing
the boulder holders were getting to you.
So now you're like, and you can't lift your arm. It's just, and even the band around here, like even undergarments touching your skin sometimes is like, oh, like you always say that to me, and he goes, I think I'm getting sick.
Yeah, like, scaly skin.
And then you get the skin that you're like, my skin hurts. Yeah. That happens all the time.
I hate it. That's when I get sick. Right? That my body tells me I get scaly skin, and I'm like, I feel like a lizard, and I'm like, I'm gonna get sick. I don't know why. I don't know how to describe it any other way, but it's just like my skin just hurts.
I don't understand what you mean scaly.
I don't know. My skin is just like, it's just like scaly skin. Like it just hurts to touch. It's just like, it doesn't feel like my own skin. Like I'm touching it and it's hurting. So it just doesn't, I feel like I have like a layer of pain on my skin. So I just call it scaly skin because it just, I could feel every part of my skin. And I wanted to say too, like to explain to people a little bit more of like the pain and the feeling. So like I was saying in the first time we recorded, only repeating to you, is like if you did like a bad deadlift in a bad form, let's say, and your lower back from throwing it out hurts because you overlifted and you strained it, and it takes you like how many days for your body to come back. It's like that can happen to you from just like doing the basic things, from like going for a walk or going to the grocery store if it's all like cement, or if there's like things with like rocks on it, and like, you know, all those things matter. And it's so I equate that, if people want to know like in a normal body what I would equate that feeling to, would being like I throw out a muscle at the gym and I'm slowly making myself back to normal. But that's like what you feel like in a lot of places a lot of the time. And some
Yeah.
days
And
you
when
have
you're,
to just like rest it away. There's nothing else that fixes it unless you want to be completely fucking medicated and zonked out.
well, I can't be, so that's another part of it. But um, kind of going back to a little bit to the skin too. It's like I don't
Yeah.
know what other people feel like, but even when I sit in a chair, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like it's not, oh my god, I'm gonna die hurt,
No,
but
it's like
it's like
oversensitivity.
I can feel the whole chair, and it's like almost like a sunburn feeling,
Mm.
but not quite, but
Uncomfortable.
all the time.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just after a while, it just like a woodpecker, it just gets you. But you can't say that to people, and you can't. Well, you can, but I choose not to have that
Yes.
conversation all the
Yes.
time about
No.
weird things that bug me. I'm just like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take. It's a lot. It changes your life. It changes your whole life. Like you,
Yeah.
like you were saying, I have to watch what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I have to pace myself all the time. I feel bad because, like, if I'm making plans with somebody or try to make plans with somebody, I kind of have to carve that out
Mm-hmm.
and really look at how that's going
Be
to work
detailed.
because of all the kind of things that I have to kind of prepare for and have backup or have something like if something happens. So it is great when I come with you because you know about it. So you're
Mm-hmm.
like, and I can just look at you and you're like, you're done. And I'm like, yep, I'm done. Right. Or whatever. What do you need help with? What can I do? Can I lift this? Can I do this? And it's like,
Yes.
oh, okay. It's a relief to have somebody that gets it. Right.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
even
And
though
I
you
love
feel like
that.
it's a burden, but it's nice
No,
to have
that's
somebody
not a
that gets
burden. Yeah, it's not a burden, and I like that Grant gets it too. Like that's super helpful. Like,
it.
it's really great when the spouse is on board and he tries to, even though he keeps lifting his fucking truck more, not that he listens. But he's lifted it even more and now he's like, "I'll just get her a bigger ladder." I was like, that's not
Grant.
that's not how it works. He's like, I'll get her a bigger
Oh,
ladder. It'll be fine."
I think
I'm
he
like, "Oh,
likes
for
to be
fuck's
this.
sakes."
I think he likes
Yes, he
to
wants
be
to
the
be the
cute,
gentleman.
chivalrous. Yeah.
Absolutely, he does. Any chance he can be the gentleman, like absolutely he'll take it. But
He's
to the point where it's just like,
50-50 where he is.
yeah, but like for us, it's just like it's such a mile. I know obviously it's a big thing too, and I'm not discrediting the help that I've given you over the years. I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
no.
that, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying to me, it's just like a no brainer because it's like an energy exchange because you help me in so many other ways, or you have, and you brought life to me. So it's just like, but I get that. I get the being like, like I'm terrible at cooking food for myself. I'm better, but I'm terrible. And so I always do feel bad when Grant like picks that up for me and just like feeds me. I'm like, man, I just wish I was the better future wife that just makes all the food. But like, I'm just terrible at it. And like, I'm better when he's home, but he's just so good at it. He just loves food. So, but I do get that guilt of like, you feel like someone's like kind of picking up something. But at the same time, it's like, I know you also don't have that 24/7. And I know how comforting it is to have someone that just gets, oh, there's a curb. I'm immediately stopping to help you up or down or looking at the best path for you to go that's going to be the safest for you. And it's just because we've been doing this we've been learning together through this for 30 years, right? It's not like it's always been this way. And we've had to learn, like I said before, like understanding your oversensitivity to noise and all of that and why like, why you would react and maybe like a yell a little bit more is like the overstimulation. And then I notice that if I get overstimulated, I have had to break the habit of resorting to yelling to just get it to stop. Right. And so those are things that like, but we work through that. Now we don't do that anymore. Right. We don't even like our fights now aren't even how they were. And I think that's family as it is. But even then we have the added complexity of your pain and the management of that as well. And the emotions that come with that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a hard thing for everybody. It's a big, huge adjustment for people. And I think we all just need to learn grace from it, right?
Absolutely.
Like I have to try and stop to feel guilty and and a burden and but it takes time, just like it took when we need to learn to grow to where I am now and learning how I needed to do this and pace this and whatever so that it works out that I can go and spend time or I can do these things, right? Like it's a huge learning curve for people and they really have to not beat themselves up. It's not their fault they have it. It is what it is. Like, right? Like that's what I want to say to other people. It's like you can't change it. It is what it is. All you can do is, get through every day. And I try not to think about it a lot. I try to just not, and I don't talk about it. I mean, I will, but I mean, like, I try not to bring that up in
Not your identity.
conversations. Like, I'm not going to sit here, oh my God, my ass feels like it's sunburnt right now sitting on here. Oh my God. Like even if I'm sitting there and I'll go out with friends or whatever. And then you're sitting at a table, in a restaurant. So this. And then, so you're sitting there and I'm sitting here and somebody's sitting beside me and I consciously turn this way, and face this way. So I don't have to keep turning my neck.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like, you have to think things like that, because if you don't, and you do overdo those things all the time, then you're not going to end up going out. So, and I don't talk to them about it. Like, I don't sit there and give them an explanation unless they're looking at me like, what is your problem? Why are you doing that? And then I'll quickly explain, I got to do that because it makes it feel better. And then I just shut it up.
Could you imagine, though, if you announced that I'm moving this way so I don't have to move my neck, just so you all know? Carry on. Like, right? It's like, you don't want to narrate your fucking life.
You're
but
right.
like, too, at the same time.
But there
I just know too, right?
All the time, right?
Yes, yeah. That's what I mean. You'd be doing that all the time. You just have a constant narrator.
Right. So I just try and keep completely quiet about anything. And, people are like, oh, I didn't know you had that. Oh, then I'm doing a good job, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
and people turn around and say, you're faking it. No, I'm faking to be nice, faking to be okay.
Why would I?
Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, no, I have to really put a lot of energy. It's like, I put that analogy before. It's like somebody who has Tourette's who, a lot of times kids who have Tourette's or whatever, they'll go to school and they'll hold in their tics the best they can until they get home. And then they are
freak fly.
Whatever. It's kind of the same thing when you go out, you try to hold those things in and you try to act as normal as possible because you kind of want a normal life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of need that mentally to go and just
be someone else outside of that.
Be who you would have been, and without having to. But unfortunately, that can't completely happen because like I said, you have to control your trips,
your limitations.
So
yeah.
So you do the best you can or whatever. And I try to smile. I try to laugh. Laughing makes me happy.
Good thing your daughter's hilarious.
I know. Thank goodness.
Comedy over here. Comedy
to
podcast.
Me, that's good therapy.
Yes.
To me or whatever. So we try to laugh and, even at crazy, if anything, it helps me even at crazy like situations where a lot of people now would just freak right out and be like, oh, it's okay, man.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. I can, I don't have to.
I don't have energy to emotionally react to a lot of things anymore. I'm just busy trying not to be in pain. That's kind of, I think, where you're at.
I've taught myself not to.
Yeah.
I've taught myself not to wallow in what's going on.
Yeah. It's a lot of mindset work. It's just a lot of mindset work that you've gone through and that's why I'm so proud now. And I'll be like completely honest. And we've talked this at length before is like, that is something that scares me. And like one big thing, I'm not going to lie, I was thinking about this maids thing, which obviously I'm not going to fully get into, but those are things that I do worry about because at a young age, when I know that like by diagnosis, you're in pain, like fibromyalgia at its core is a chronic pain disease. Yeah, there's fatigue in it, but it's fatigue because you're in pain. And I've seen the like hurt and the sadness that you've had and the work you've had to do to overcome not being able to participate in some things or do some things. Right. And so I always did worry about you taking your own life not because you were active. It was just because like, I just maybe think to myself, I don't know if I'd be strong enough to get through it. And then there started the anxiety of like, well, fuck, what happens if I get it? Like, what? You better start moving and enjoying your life just in case, not that you don't enjoy your life, but you know what I'm saying? Enjoy the freedom and the lack of limitations now while you can. And I've just kind of been balls to the walls to that. And then when people are like, oh, you need to slow down, I'm just like, okay, but one day I might be forced to. So I'm going to keep going until I'm forced to. And maybe that's healthy and maybe that's not healthy. I don't know, but we're here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that's, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, I know that as I'm getting older now, it's like, I know the other stuff is coming in too of age and everything else. And I like try to do what I can do.
Yeah.
because I don't want to just be lying in bed all the time, because I don't think that helps you either. And
No,
you
my
know what?
gosh, no.
That can be painful as well. I mean, you got to learn pacing. And I had somebody talking to me about that the other night, and reminded me that the spoon theory is a good theory for people to, like the spoon method, to help, because it's like you have a certain amount of spoons in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and say you only have 5. It's like, okay, what am I going to give my spoons to?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, for me, it's easier now because I don't have to give my spoons away.
That's
But when
just
you have
true.
kids, it's like, okay, I know where my spoons are going. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, I know
totally.
where they need to go, or today they have to go here, or today they have to go there. Maybe I can get somebody to help me with this, so that
Mm-hmm.
I can use one of those spoons to get me through whatever. It's a very good analogy, because you just have to pace yourself. You can't just, and for the longest time I've been like, nope, I'm stubborn. I'm just
I'm
freaking gonna
independent
do it.
woman.
I'm
I got
doing it.
this.
I don't care, and I'll do it until I can't do it. And then it's like,
Yes.
okay, then I'm
Oh,
down.
fuck.
But
And then you're
but
down,
if you
down.
do that, you can't do that though, because you have kids, and you can't be down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't. So something has to give,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's just yeah, it's tough. You got to choose. But sometimes then you feel guilty because you choose something that makes you happy, and it's for your mental health. Like, okay, yeah, I didn't clean this today, or I didn't
Yeah.
do this today
Yes.
because I chose me to get my mental health
In check.
in check. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to make it through the other ones. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
I want to
yeah,
enjoy life.
yeah,
Sue me.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
And
it's
I
kind
think
of,
like if we think about like why we're here and lessons that we're learning, like it's kind of cool in a sense like that we did have that that you were divorced and it was me and you and that I could do that and that I was at an age to start being able to do that I was at an age that I could help take care of the home and help at the grocery store and help with the kids and stuff like that. Like, I think
yeah,
it's just kind of like if you can look at the beauty of that, like what if I wasn't there, right? And you had all that stuff.
yeah.
So it's like,
It's very,
maybe
very helpful.
yeah, so you
Helpful
can like
for me to get through to things when especially when I was like still doing the shift work.
mhm.
And then, thank goodness, an opportunity came up, and because I was getting, it was getting really hard to do. But I when I went and got the opportunity to do day shift, then my shift stayed the same, and I didn't
Yeah,
have that fluctuation in um like
shifts
graveyards and evenings, and you know
in the morning
which was a big thing when you don't sleep, or you're starting to get to the point
consecutively.
where you can't sleep and you're fatigued anyways. But yeah, like that helped out a lot, and I
Mhm.
still could carry on. And then you know living life, and had another kid, and okay, I like married, had another kid. I was getting
We're
older,
living
so I was
life.
like, okay, it's time. I need to have
Yes.
another one, whatever. So I
Yep.
had another one, and then car accident
Bam.
took me out.
I still
Took
have
me
I have
out.
the binder of that actually. I was cleaning out my closet the other day and I have the binders for my car accidents.
Oh,
I
do
have a
you?
binder of the Cavalier accident. Yeah.
Oh,
Pictures of it.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
a hoarder
wow.
at some things. I have that and I have
That's
the
cool.
the
I'd be interested to see
yeah,
that.
I'll show you when you come up this summer.
Um,
But yeah, it's
that's when that
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 changed
happened.
a lot.
That changed a lot. Getting in the
Yeah.
car, like I lived with fibro. I carried on, just like, okay, you're strong, you carry on, blah blah blah, whatever it
Yeah.
is. But that took me out, and I tried to go back to work, and it really didn't work out. And then I'm like, this is gonna work out. Like, I'm just gonna carry on like every
Yeah,
other
I'll get
time.
better. Yeah.
I'll get better. I'll just, even if I don't, I'm gonna carry on like every other time. And I'm like, okay, well, while I'm waiting, I need to have another kid, because I am okay. My clock is done. Like, this is it. I need to, like, okay, if I'm gonna have another one, I'm doing it now.
Do it now. Get it done.
I'll get better. I never did. I never, I never could go back. I could not.
Especially
I
not with two
I don't
babies
even
either
know
though.
how I got up in the morning sometimes. Just it was way a lot. Like, the pain was crazy. The fatigue was crazy. It was crazy. My yeah, everything did not work anymore. Like,
And your
so
birth stories were also like a little bit insane too, on top of that. uh, So I'm sure
Yes.
that didn't help going through
No, I
that
have
kind
to
of
agree with
trauma
that.
as well. Like I think that probably the accident and then like two like decently like I was probably not as bad, but Dalton or Hudson's birth and then having to go into that C-section and then try to heal when your body just can't heal, you can't sleep like that. I'm sure exacerbated your healing for your C-section with Dalton as well. And then you have a 2-year-old running around and then you have a 14-year-old running
But thank God I
around as
had
well.
you there,
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
right?
Great birth control.
Which was lovely, and I had my mother-in-law to help me out and
Hmm. That
um
was amazing.
stuff like that. So
Hmm.
that was great. Um,
Community is
so
really important. And
oh,
like when Auntie Nay, when I grew up as well, babysitting me while you were, working when you were
doing the shift
single.
work,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We
absolutely,
had a
yeah,
whole
that
ass life
very
before
important.
the
And
boys
Nan, like
came.
Nan
Hmm.
too,
Whole
helped me
family.
out on the weekends and stuff like that too, and whenever she could,
Yeah.
and yeah,
But we were
so it was.
managing. But that
Yeah,
accident
yeah,
changed.
it was happening. Like,
Hmm.
I wasn't perfect.
No.
Absolutely, I
Who
did
the fuck
things,
is?
but
Who
um,
is?
right,
Except
like,
for me
but
now. Just kidding.
yeah. So it kind of it just there it knocked me out,
Yeah.
and the things, ugh, and all through that, like, I guess I should probably read off my symptoms so that people
Yeah,
kind
let's
of
do that too.
understand a
Yeah.
little bit more, because it isn't
Yeah.
just pain, tired, da 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 da. It's more. So, a lot of us have IBS.
Hmm.
So that got worse, which really kind of more debilitates you of what you can do and what you can't do and what you can be around and when you need to eat and when you not be.
Yeah. Yeah.
On top
We
of
make
all the stuff
plans.
you already have to do, you've got that.
Yeah.
I had irritable bladder,
Hmm.
which was really, I have irritable. I shouldn't say I have, which got, you know, to explain to somebody who doesn't understand, especially with me, because I have all these knots and all these trigger points in my body, like all these things, and when they spasm, which I suffer from a lot of spasming, like it is a lot of spasming.
Hmm.
So, like, say if my bladder was doing the spasming, it would actually like clench up and it would like reef me, like as if it's trying to push a baby out. And I'm like, I don't have a baby. Why is this happening? And
Right.
so, those kinds of things are scary because you're like, what the actual F is happening? Like, there's no
There's this
baby in there. Why
rejection.
am I trying to push this out?
Yeah.
You find out that's what it is. And then once again,
Mhm.
you're having spasms in your wherever you're having
Wow.
them.
We love spasms.
Yeah. Skin that hurts all the time. Sorry, I'm reading this because
Nope.
there's a lot. Skin that hurts all the time. TMJ.
Mm.
If I open too much, click it. There'd be times where I couldn't even open my jaw. I'd have to like push food through
I remember
because
watching
I
that.
couldn't eat food.
Did anybody offer you
Um,
Botox for that? I can't remember if I asked you that the other day.
no. It was just a dentist like, you have
Good.
TMJ, so you need to get one of these guards, and money, 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 money. Spend on guards, spend on this, spend on whatever. It's like insane. The muscle stiffness and the spasms are like ridiculous. Like, I don't even know how to explain them. It's just like a charting horse or whatever, but it's everywhere and you never know where you're going to get it. And it just, yeah, it's
Can't relive
like
it.
if I'm walking, sometimes it'll feel like the back of my, on the top of my heel there on top, like between your ankle and
Okay,
your
yep.
leg.
Yep.
It'd be like your tendons are
Just
like,
seizing.
they're seizing and you're not walking and you feel like you're walking like on glass, like kind of like you,
Ouch.
I don't even know how to explain it. And so that kind of stuff happens throughout your body.
Random.
It's nuts.
Yep.
Tingling in my extremities
Blech.
happens. Not sure. Sometimes I'll sit there and all of a sudden the side of my leg it completely go numb and you're touching it. It's like the dentist is like, okay, where'd my leg go? It's weird. And my feet burn like crazy at
Your
the
feet
bottom. They
always
feel
bug
like
you.
you're going over
Hot coals.
aggregate cement. You're running over aggregate, like, that
In
feeling
summer.
after you've done it way too much in the summer and your
Yeah.
feet, so you go
It's
to bed,
dry.
yeah, and you go to
Feels
bed and you're
dry.
just like, you're trying to freaking go to sleep and you've got it and it's not good while your legs are it's
No, I
crazy.
feel that.
Can't
I don't feel
sleep,
that, but I feel that.
insomnia, like you said,
Yep.
depression, anxiety about what's going to happen with your life,
Mm-hmm.
like depression of what your life was and what
It
it's going
won't
to
be.
become. And like I say, I've said it before, I go through it about, I don't know, about 2 times a year where I kind of go down and the fake, I'm okay, I'm good, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I
Yep.
just have to just, I'm
Own it.
myself. I can't.
But we've learned that
Um,
avoiding it is not what makes it better. It doesn't make it go away.
right, exactly. So I definitely try not to do that, but there is times where it's just, I
You just
get
have
too
to.
overwhelmed from holding it all in and not, you know, making my issues everybody else's issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Of
So
course.
it's tough. Can't say words properly, can't think properly. Like,
Brain fog.
oh, you're so fogged and you're so. Uh, I couldn't even figure out how to spell the word the. I always go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, where's my mind? What happens? And I know people do that, but this happens on a regular basis. Sometimes you drop your stuff because you almost like you don't remember how to hold on to something, so you're very klutzy and clumsy, and you cut yourself and you hurt yourself. It's like, okay,
It's like
you got off
spurts of
balance,
demen. It's like
you
almost
trip.
spurts of dementia. It's like it just like for like a good 30 seconds, your brain just loses all of its information, and then it like reboots, and you're like, what
Yep, exactly. You're like, what was I
the
doing?
fuck?
Like, ringing in your ears.
Yep.
Uh, say there's like a time when I'm doing something with my hands or whatever and whatever for the longest time, and it starts creeping up, so it starts to spasm, it starts to stiffen up, like,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden I can't move my neck back and forth and I'm stuck. Right?
And I think
And
I've
I'm
equated that in the last episode too, where it just for myself, like, when you turn your head, and maybe you still do this, but people would relate, you like turn your head and then you hear that crack and you feel that like you feel it and it starts to burn, and then all of a sudden it's just like it starts burning, and then you're locked. You're not
yes.
moving without a chiropractor or a physio or something like that. That's
Yes, and
you
that's
get
kind of
that
what happens
everywhere.
to places on your body, and you're
Yeah.
just like, "What the hell?" And so it's like, "Okay, I need to wait that out, or I'm not gonna be able to do that at this point, or I'm gonna do it a different way because, or you kind of pre-do that. I'm gonna do it this way so that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
right. So
Planning.
that's
Planning is big, is key.
yeah, yeah. This it feels like I have whiplash again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, my rib pain and my costochondritis is
It's a big
crazy.
word.
That is like it. You get pain that comes from the front from the back to the front. And it just radiates all through here. Um, it's the most painful. You can't breathe. I am like beside myself when that starts doing its thing. So I really, really, and maybe sometimes over, be preventative of something like that, like
Mm-hmm.
doing like sweeping or
Yeah.
vacuuming. I can't do that days in a row. I can't sweep days in a row, and I don't do it for very long. If I'm going to do it, I plan it, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to do something else that involves
Yeah.
that day anymore, because, or do that repetitively in a row, because repetitive things seem to trigger these things way more. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
You
like your
get
muscles need to
up here.
relax.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Like up here, you get so stiff and locked up and inflamed
Mm-hmm.
that you have a hard time breathing. So you're thinking, okay, I got a cold or
Fuck.
I'm getting whatever.
I'm getting COVID.
That's not. It's because you've done something and you don't even
Yeah.
think, oh, I did that. Oh, that's why that is, right? Like, it's a lot of brain work.
And I feel
My
like
hip.
another way to explain it is like, say you've never been to the gym before, or you took a break and then you went back and you went hard over your whole entire body, like that pain, that exhaustion, like to me that would be the closest thing to explain what, you would be going through 24/7. And that just doesn't
Well, not
repair
twenty four
almost.
seven,
Well,
but
no,
when
but
you're in a
like,
flare, yes, like when you do shit like that and you inflame
yes.
yourself, it's like it's like, okay, so you get inflamed. Like the top up here is so hard. The up here is so hard, and it doesn't take very much to do before it
Yeah.
starts creeping, and it goes into your head, it goes into everywhere, it goes into your jaw, it goes in your face. My hips are really bad. See, if I go for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I go get into my car, I have to turn around and sit in my car and kind of lift up my legs because it doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
If I'm going up higher step rises, it's not even just that it's painful. it doesn't want to go. It's like it's locked, and it's like, nope, you can try it, but it ain't gonna happen. Right?
This is I know Dalton's not there anymore, but when you go to Grand Prairie, you should almost get him to bring you to his old apartment where his steps are, because I looked at them. I'm like, these are mom's steps. Like, they were very long and very short. And so, like, for us, it felt weird because I felt like and I'm like, oh my God, this is like almost unsatisfying because I can't lift my leg up enough or else I look stupid. I was like, these are mom's steps. Like, mom would absolutely like love these steps. I mean, you wouldn't like it because you had to go down after into the down part of the apartment, but just the outside ones, I was like, these are mom's steps. And we think about that, like, where are we going to visit? Is there cobblestone? Is there, like, and that's what I always see. If we go and I see like a higher step up, I'll go and make sure to stop for you so that you can focus on, getting yourself up instead of just like, like helping your legs go up.
I can do it. I just pay for it later. Or with the hip thing, is like, that's a little bit harder. Yeah. Sometimes my eyes go like there's Vaseline in them.
Yeah, we talked. We
had that today earlier.
Just the visual of that makes me feel icky.
It's like you're not seeing double vision, but
it's murky.
You're seeing through, like Vaseline. It's like looking through a clear, weird thing.
I feel like that's what I look like when I don't have contacts in. That's what it looks like for me.
Kind of, yeah.
Because I'm so blind.
The sensitivity to noise and smells. Sensitivity to noise, like, I will literally, if I hear like a fan over top of a stove, that noise, and then I didn't for a while, I could feel myself being irritable and I couldn't figure out why, and then all of a sudden I would turn that fan off and immediately I was like, oh. And so I realized, oh my gosh, like, I am so sensitive to things like that. Not everything.
Like white noise sometimes is like,
it's very deafening. Strange. The smells, like, like garlic. Oh, like, they're very, very strong.
Like you're pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. And textures of food. I think this was touching on a bit of tism, but textures in food, and actually my mouth burns.
I think it's just like an oversensitivity to everything almost is what I feel like it
my
is.
My mouth does, all of a sudden, for some reason, I don't know why, for like day and a half, I'll just feel like it's burning, like it's sunburnt, and I don't understand. But I haven't put it together. But I mean, it is kind of hard to keep putting that stuff together.
Yes, it's true.
Heat fluctuation in temperature. Heat is better, but hot, the fatigue comes out like way, unless I have water around, right? Like,
yes.
If I can cool my core. Yep. Rain, weather, change of weather, fluctuation of weather. Oh goodness. I'm like, okay, it must be coming. So spring and fall are a little bit dicey for me. Yeah. Right?
Which is so funny because, like, you live in the rainiest place almost in Canada. I would say Kelowna was pretty rainy this season. We had a pretty rain season. I don't want to hear fucking nothing from nobody this summer. If there's fucking fires, I want to hear nothing out of you assholes that we didn't get fucking rain, because we did, and a lot of it, so just none of it.
Yes.
I swear it drives me nuts.
It does suck, but I love the green.
But it's nice and it's so green here right now. I think it's like, but for you, perfect time to come is like when you're coming, when it's a lot warmer, and that, like, we know we do plan those things and we are aware
and it's
of
still
those
green
things.
By the time I come.
Oh yeah. Right now though, it's just like extra lush right now because of all the rain. It's just it's crazy.
Yes. Trigger points in my face, which always makes me feel like maybe I have a cold. Like in my
congestion almost
spots and whatever. So I have trigger points all my face, all my jaw.
Yeah.
Like, just very tiring. Vertigo. Lately, if I just turn on my left side when I'm sleeping, or like when I'm in bed and all of a sudden I turn on my left side, all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, would I have to turn because I'm doing
like
vertigo.
You have the spins, like you're drunk almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course, irritability, it can come up there, but I really try just my best. Acid reflux, it actually hasn't been bothering me a little bit lately, but I was taking medication for that.
And turn of events, I've now gotten that before, and I've never in my life have ever had like heartburn or anything, and now I'm starting to experience it, which I feel is pretty lucky. I'm 38, so I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not too bad. People crave the sugar. And I'm not craving the sugar for sugar. before, when I was like really bad, when that period of after the accident, whatever, I would have to, like, I don't drink coffee, I don't drink tea, I don't drink juice, I don't drink anything, but I was drinking Coke for a while there.
Yeah. As you say that, and then you
like,
just
like
doing
you guys,
Coke.
yeah, that's
the
what I was
people
doing.
that were listening. She
No.
wasn't sniffing cocaine, just to be clear.
Yeah, I was drinking. I said
Coca-Cola.
drinking. I was drinking Coca-Cola. Just to, like you guys do with your Monsters.
Oh, yeah. It's right
Or
now,
your
but
energy drinks.
yeah.
Like, I needed something to, like, to even
Pop
get
ya.
me through the day to be able to take care of life.
Feel that.
So that kind of stuff. At that time beforehand, really painful periods, UTIs all the time.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. And I don't know if
and it went to your kidney, didn't it, a few times?
Yeah, and I don't know if that was part of the, the
spasms
inside, or the knots or whatever I have, but yeah, that was not fun.
No, that you didn't enjoy that.
What else? Weird. Chronic sinusitis, sore throat all the time. I used to have a lot of halls. Do you remember that?
Yes, you had a hall addiction. Yeah, yes. I was worried for a minute.
Well, it wasn't a hall addiction, but my throat was always sore, and back then it was always swollen. Like, all in here was always swollen, so it always pushed. Right? So it felt like I had a sore throat all the time.
Borderline addiction. You're borderline addiction.
I had no choice. Eczema.
I said crack, I had no choice.
Yeah. Scalp tenderness, like taking it out of the ponytail, but all over your head. Yeah. One time, actually it happened a couple times, where my whole one side of my head and down, like, it was almost like somebody drew a line and was completely numbed out. It was the weirdest freaking feeling, I'm telling you.
It's like baby strokes.
Well, that's kind of what I felt, but I had Bell's palsy too.
You did, yeah.
So my whole side of my face went.
That was fun. Jean Cachin era.
It was not fun.
It was funny for us to make fun of her when she got better.
Yeah, ha ha ha. Because I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna be like this forever. Taking pain meds. Or any meds. They put me on a lot of meds to try a lot of different things to try and make it better. My tolerance for those were not good. Tylenol 3 got me high as F.
Muscle
relaxants. I'd be like taking muscle relaxants, trying to calm them down, and I'd be in my pillow laughing so hard, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I cannot do this.
This is not for me.
Having said that, in all the medications, I would get all the side effects from it.
Yeah.
Like, the listed side effects, I'd be like, holy shit. Like, I can't take this. This is making me worse and making all what I already have worse.
Well, risk is putting in more risk in there too. Like, you're already playing the devil's advocate, or like, Russian roulette with all the things.
Yeah, like I took gabapentin, and I'm driving down the road, and I actually had to pull over, and I don't even remember how long I was pulled over because I forgot where I was going. I forgot why I wasn't even out. And I'm just like, I cannot do this. I cannot function. So, I mean, those are just some of the things I can think of.
There was a lot. There's some on here too. Maybe just share for that other people might have.
And they don't come all at the same time.
No.
But when you're going through this and you're trying to understand that you have this, and then you're like, oh my god, am I having a stroke?
Yeah.
What is going on? Yeah. Do I have a bladder? Like, am I, like you said, is my kidneys, like, what is happening? And you don't know what's happening with your body. You think you're crazy, and they come random. There's no rhyme or reason, and you can't predict them.
Yeah.
So it encompasses your whole life.
Yeah, it's not like an allergy where you're like, oh, well, I eat dairy and I'm shitting my pants, so clearly I'm not going to eat dairy. Like, obviously there are some, or if I am, I'm going to be strategic and make sure I'm by a washroom or whatever. Exactly. But it's like these things, there's not always that. There's some that are known, points, but not all of them. And so, like, pretty much I think it's aligned here. And just like for people, like, this falls into like rheumatology and neurology in that space. Like, Mom would have went to a rheumatologist to do those testings to see. I myself went to a rheumatologist when I was 26 in Grand Prairie, because I just wasn't sure, and I just wanted to see if I had any markers, like you said, the trigger points, and I came out and they were like, nope, like
Yeah.
you're not showing any signs. However, and here it does say that, early to middle age is the onset. So I am middle aged, or definitely going into middle age now. So there are times where some things happen, or I do have those winds of fatigue, and I have to be like, okay, is this just because you do a lot of stuff? Or like, and like, those are things that I still think about because I'm not out of the woods. I
Yeah.
don't know that I'll ever be out of the woods, but we just keep going, and we just, like you said, and at least I have you if I do, but same kind of thing. So chronic headaches, sleep disorders, dizziness, cognitive impairment, memory impairment, anxiety, depression, speaking to muscular, myofascial pain, fatigue, twitches, joints, morning stiffness, which, takes a bit of time for you to get up in the morning.
Yeah, sure does.
Urinary problems, reproductive system dysmenorrhea. Interesting. That would be attributed to all your period pains. Nausea, chest pain, skin, various complaints,
Yes.
joint of jaw dysfunction, eyes, vision problems, systematic pain, weight gain, cold symptoms, multiple chemical sensitivity. And
Yeah.
that's the sensitivity to medications. And so we did talk, like, you've had some pills. In the past, we've decided that Toradol is one of the only things that helps you without completely making you a zombie. Is that fair to
Well,
say?
it doesn't actually make you high,
Yeah, which is so
right?
wonderful.
Which
Yeah,
is great.
yeah,
I personally don't believe in being on medications all the time.
not this early in
Um,
life.
but I do save those for times if I want to go somewhere,
Mhm.
or if I've done something, I'm like, okay, I want to do that, and then I'll take Toradol then,
Mhm.
or
The day
when I'm
after.
home or
Mhm.
whatever. I just didn't want to get used to them. I don't want to have them every day, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they become weaker. You take more because that's what ends up happening, right? Like,
Yes.
I thank goodness to a chiropractor that I had here, wonderful man, um, who has seen a lot of people that have what I have, and he's just like, Lisa, I know that what you're going through, I know what's going on, but please promise me you will not go down taking pills. You will not go down that pill path, because I've
Once you're
seen,
on it.
like, even nurses that they end up stealing meds and doing that, just trying to just get through what they're getting through, or trying just to live, and they've pretty much lost themselves, and the wreck completely made it worse for their lives. And I really appreciated that he said that to me. But I already had that issue, like, or not
Mhm.
issue, but I always had that. I don't want to take a lot of pills. I've seen somebody in my life that took pain meds and had stomach cancer, and there was cancer in the family, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I didn't really want to go that, but they don't work for me anyway, except
Yeah. And it's
those
a
ones.
addictive too thing. And if you have that, person, like I do, like I got addicted to Tylenol 3. I love the
Mhm.
high. What you fucking, that's great. I wish I could be that right now. Like, I don't even have any problems, but back in my head, be like, fuck, a Tylenol 3 high would be great. Like, I'm an addict, true and true. I do love to, like, because I've had stuff where I've been in pain. So I get that. I think that's why, I was just like, yeah, pills are great. And then I got addicted and got really sick, and all those things that come with the risks of doing pills, like fucking up your stomach and all that. You realize, okay, well, it's actually probably making my original problem worse, especially for
Yeah.
you, right? Like,
Yeah.
because, like, it really, like with IBS and all that kind of stuff, like, you don't want to be taking a ton of medication in your stomach. And then if you're
Yeah.
already combating anxiety and depression, well, your gut being dysregulated is only going to make those worse if you're throwing, but it is so easy for people to just like take an SSRI, just take this, take Xanax, take all this. It's like, okay, but for
So,
the rest of my
well,
fucking life,
I was on Zoloft and stuff for the
yeah.
longest time, because I
Mhm.
really couldn't handle my irritability of, like, being in pain all the time. And that was
Of
another
course.
reason why I with my work, you can't go and take care and caregive people when you're
I want to punch
in
everyone.
pain, and you just feel like you just, yeah, like you cannot hold your irritability. It's not fair to anybody. So,
No, no.
um, yeah, and I mean, you can try the best you can, but when you're repetitively doing stuff that's, like, to the point where you can't do it anymore, and you're like, yeah, no,
And there's no reset, like you said, right? Like, it'd be one thing if you went
yeah,
through that all day, 12 hours a day, let's say 18 hours a day, and then you went to bed and you reset, and your body felt like it got a rest, that would be great, maybe. And it does happen from time to time. Like, you know, your first night here, let's say you probably have like a better sleep, right? Or, you know, because you're here with us and it's safe. You know what I mean? Like, just like my first night ever being at home, like sometimes you'll get those good sleeps, I'm sure, but it's not frequent enough that it resets, especially when you're a mom and you have you have a teenager and you have two babies, you know, working, and then the family's growing outside of us, and, you know, you're a wife, and, you know, so then outside of the job, like that's so much at one time. And like you said, you don't want to be bitchy because everyone's coming at you and nobody really fully understood what was going on at that time. You were just learning for yourself, like, what does this actually mean? So, you know, it's like you couldn't even explain it if, you know, so it's like, well, I can't snap at people or get mad because I can't even fucking explain what's going on because I don't really fucking know. Well, and so it's a lot to manage. And so you did go through.
Well, I thought you could do that one day. I seen you do that one day. How come you can't do it today? Well, just because, you know, maybe you don't want to do that with me. And I was like, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like
I physically can't.
Don't get a choice what I do or what I can't do, and it's it predicts me, and I hate that it controls. I have having that control over me, but I don't really have a choice, and I've had to learn to just go with the flow, and you know what, and also have to learn to not care about what other people think.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go into next too. Yeah, the mindset part of not just like, this is what I have to deal with, not just how do I deal with this myself and help my kids navigate the fear of it or whatever, but it's like, again, the whole, and back to the invisible illness. Well, I've seen you do this one time, or I've seen this, or I know somebody that has this, or you do, you know, and then it's just like, cool. But like, back to my original point, like, why would you lie about that? Like, you know, like I said, in my early age, I'd probably be like, really, Mom? But like after 30 years and being with you through the whole thing, it's just like, I don't know how people can deny it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But like I said, you don't get it until you actually have it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
even I can understand.
I can understand people looking from the outside, not understanding that. Not even a lot of people don't even look. Like, it's really sad. I just think, if I say anything to anybody that's with somebody that has this, look at what they possibly could be going through, and they're gonna hide that stuff from you too, because it's embarrassing. Like,
of course.
Oh, I don't want to go there. They might just turn around and go, oh, you just don't want to go there because, like, what is your problem? Well, because if I go there and I've just eaten, I might, you know, need the bathroom and I might have an accident. And do we have a backup plan for that? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
totally. It's not just as easy. Like, there's more steps to it. But people take it so personal, and it's like, if you can look outside of that, like you said last time too, I wanted to point out, he's like, I don't want to control the plans or the narrative or what we're doing for the day. But if I don't, like, that puts me in a position, and like, because you've been through it, because you've been caught in places where, you know, there wasn't a washroom, or, you know, like, you weren't feeling well out of nowhere, like, you can't predict it. You just have to have that plan. And it's like, once we have that plan, we can go forward so that if it happens, we action it. But in the moment, sometimes it's a little hard too, when you're just like, you know, frantic trying to figure out what needs to happen.
Well, then you get this other thing where he's just like, okay, I couldn't do this before, and it's not that I can't do it. It's what I'm going to pay for later if I do it. Like, like I said, it's like, okay, I might not be able to do that today because 3 of my spoons was already gone, and this is my last thing. But you might get me on another day where I haven't spent any, and I'm like, okay, I can do that. Or there's been a lot of times where I just am embarrassed and just push through it and go, I'm going to do it anyways, and quietly pay. Like,
that's because you want to enjoy your life too.
You just want to feel fucking normal.
Yeah. And that's why we try. And that's why that's why I say, when you come up here, that's why we try to help as much as we can to make you feel like that, because we can help you feel as close to normal as you can, to be as respected, and give you a home where you can, you know, if you're not feeling well, let us know, or need help down the stairs or packing this, or like, it's not even a question. We just go and do it. And it's not because like we're just like serving, or that you're not, like, it's just like, why not make your life a little bit easier if we can, we're physically able to, right? And to your point, like, it's just a society we're in, and we know this with everything else. People just read the headlines, right? So they just see that, and we talked about it last time, because you do have the ability to have your handicap sign, and where people, again, don't see that, and then, you know, yelling at you, or it's just like his you know, his grandmother is running past you, you know, like, it's like, just people not having the understanding, and just like looking at the headlines and being like, oh, she looks like she's able-bodied, Meanwhile, you're on fire on the inside.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah. And I try not to do that. I try not to use that
Of
because,
course.
like, I always think, oh, there's probably people worse than me. There's probably people worse than me. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
I'm that kind of a person. Whereas, well, once a caregiver, always a caregiver. You're always
Yes.
trying to caregive, right?
Of
So you're
course. And a
always worried
mom.
about other people
Mhm.
and how you can help them and or whatever. And don't worry about me. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, that's just the way it goes. And then you push yourself too far and you do this or whatever. But it is what it is. And I try not to use that handicap sign or whatever. But like, if I am going to Costco and those cement floors, they are gonna kill me.
Mm-hmm.
They are gonna kill me.
Most
Right?
people
Definitely I'll take
suck.
meds. I'll definitely whatever. But there's times where I come out, like I said, it's just it hurts so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have
But
to prepare and you have to plan and too, like, again, we can both say we understand from the outside because there are people that lie about this shit, unfortunately. And
yeah,
it's like, so what do I need to wear a diagnosis on my forehead saying that, hey, I got diagnosed? Like, you know what I'm just saying? Like, so if I had that, like, it's an illness, it's a disease or whatever, diagnosis, condition, it's diagnosable. There's treatment plans, whether they're successful or not. Like, how much more do people, like, what do you need? Do you need you to be bleeding out your eyeballs for, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like, for me, I always think of like karma. Like, if I'm gonna sit there and go, oh, that person's not doing that because that person's just fucking lazy, then I immediately am like, oh, re-say that, because what karma? Like, you're gonna get shown that one day in your life where
yeah,
you're gonna be in that position and you're
yeah.
gonna feel like shit and think that people are judging you. So, like, why not
Well,
just not?
it's much more understandable now. People understand it much more.
Yeah.
30 years ago, I didn't want to talk about it because you'd say it and they didn't have a clue what you were talking about.
Fibromyalgia?
Yeah, they didn't have a clue what you were talking about. And I'd be like, I would kind of just say really bad arthritis.
Yeah,
Because I
extreme
didn't really know
arthritis.
what else to say because that's the only thing people could equate it to
Right, right.
right now. Like,
And
but
mental
now,
illness wasn't talked about then either. So even if bringing into being like, oh, my brain is or you know what I mean? If that's part of it,
yeah,
is some of it's misfiring or thinking that there's pain somewhere where there shouldn't be, people would be like, what? Why would your brain do that? But now it's
well,
just like everyone's identified by their fucking mental illness. So,
yeah, back in the day, they always just say, but it's in your head. So how they would say this in your head because your brain isn't turning off the pain, like it's not turning off those pain receptors or whatever.
mhm.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can understand that at some points for the the skin thing, da da da. But is that causing the huge spasms I have everywhere
Yeah,
and the bands that
exactly.
are all over my body
Yeah.
and just because you try to deny it, you're like, no, okay, you just need to find out what's wrong with me and fix it.
Yeah. Give me that. And to that
Fix it.
point too, is that fibro too sometimes in some ways could just be a blanket statement because they don't fucking know what is wrong. Right? Like, yes, you have markers and you've hit all those markers for sure. I'm not denying that. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, it's like, and I think you can validate that. It's like that gets put on your chart and either you're believed with a good doctor, which very blessed that you have, but there are ones that do not subscribe. And it's like, cool, you're a medical professional and you don't subscribe to this medical
You don't subscribe,
diagnosis.
but you cannot even find out
What's
what's
wrong?
going on with me. But you
Yeah.
like, are you going to take the time to figure it out? You're going to do all the
Yes.
tests,
Yeah.
And I've had, yeah, I've had tests. So, whatever.
How
But
much more can you do?
especially back then, they just, yeah, I was lucky to end up getting the doctor that I got.
That understood it.
But before that, yeah, no, they just they didn't care.
Gaslighting
And
and
it's very
dismissing.
hard too because you go in and you're like trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure everything out because you're not understanding these new symptoms. Like, okay, this is happening. Like, and they're just, it's your fibro. It's your fibro.
So
It's
I
your
mean,
fibro.
everything goes back
Okay.
to that.
I'm not quite sure if when I'm gonna die, are you gonna say that, or like you said, are you? Am I having actually a stroke, or is that just that?
Yeah.
Like even when I was giving birth to Hudson, even my doctor that is believed like that's gone with me with this journey and has supported that. He thought it was my pain that was going on with Hudson when I was like in labor.
Okay.
So he gave me an epidural
Uh,
because he's just like, well, that's her fibro pain. It's more painful than what it
for
would
her.
normally be. And I kind of get that. No, I was
Nope.
ready.
Yep.
I was, and I didn't get, and I don't think they checked the dilation, and I was
Nope.
ready, and it was like, okay, now I'm numb.
Now I can't do
Now I
this.
got to not push. No,
Yeah.
you need to hold on. You can't push right now. You can't. What? And that was a horrible birth. Like that was like a horrible birth. And
Yeah.
as
I was
and I
down
got
the
to the
hallway.
point where I was like, I just go in there or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to come here anymore, and I kind of don't now.
Yeah.
I just kind of go, yeah, okay, just another thing, just another thing, and then but one day I had like a breakdown. I was just like, I feel like I don't even want to come here anymore because like I'm trying to understand what's going on or whatever, and I don't even know if I want necessary help, but I'm just trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's always my fibro, and I just started crying. He's like looking at me like whatever, but I'm like, I don't think they understand how frustrating it is. You have all these symptoms, but there's no help,
Mm.
no whatever.
No answer to
Yeah, it's your
fix
fibro.
it.
Yeah, it's my fibro. Okay. So
And
now,
what do we do to fix
even
that?
when
We don't know.
it goes
Okay, good.
on, even I see it now. Oh yeah, it's just my friend.
Yeah, it's just gaslighting yourself. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But at this point, like, what else are you going to do? Like you said, you've done all the tests, you do all the things, and now it's just learning to live with
And
it,
yeah,
learning what your boundaries are, learning to plan, learning to mindset, and a lot of it's mindset too, because, like, at the end of the day, everyone has opinions about fucking everything in everyone else's life. Really, truly, the internet has shown us that.
yeah.
Obviously, it gets hurtful when it's people closer to you that have obviously seen this your whole entire life, but
Don't
again,
believe you.
you don't believe you, but that's back to
Or
karma
use it
and
as a
as a
thing.
yeah,
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 to
exactly. Like,
try and
yes, I would absolutely love to be able to like just go for a walk without being penalized for a couple of days. Like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, I understand like a ruse and that there's fake people out there, but there's a whole ass difference. Like, there's a whole ass difference when you watch you just try to do the things that you want to do and you can't, and
yeah,
all those things. So it's just like, I don't think people are really looking. They're just coming up with their own bias, and that's that. But I think for you, you've grown so far in like, I am who I am. This is my life, and I'm going to try and like live the best that I can. And some days are going to be shitty, and I'm going to sit in those and be honest with them instead of avoiding them. And then I'm just going to live every other day like tomorrow's a new day, right? And is
yeah,
that fair to say?
yeah. You have no choice. Even that can happen hour by hour,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
That's
Like
true.
you're just like, okay, whatever. I don't care. I feel like shit. Let's go. Let's do this. Whatever. Not crazy stuff, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it happens hour by hour. It's yeah. I try to think about, you know, people can really help people if just by letting them know that they understand or care to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that goes a huge way. And I can understand sometimes too people don't want to give that inch because then they'll complain and complain and complain
Of
or
course.
whatever about it.
But it's finding the balance if you truly love that person.
Yes.
And that's where we're at, where you're safe
Yes.
to say whatever
Well,
you need, but you don't
like you
have to
even
do
said,
it.
well, like you even said, what did you say to me before, which really stuck with me? You're just like, Mom, I don't know how to help though. Like even if you see this, I kind of feel hopeless and I don't know how to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Like how that must feel for you
Yes.
to have to watch that and feel hopeless,
Yes. A lot of the time.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
like maybe not as much now, but
No.
right, because you're much more understanding and we've grown together,
Evolved.
but yeah, I can't imagine what that feels like for the other side, and I really do feel bad about that for people. But the acknowledgement and the care is the care is acknowledgement, and just okay, being okay with things having to change and
Go with the
not feeling
flow.
like you're being controlled because
Mm-hmm.
this person needs to do this and this and this. It goes a huge long ways for people. Like I don't know, it's a life-changing thing.
It is.
It's a life-changing thing. So
And to your
you just
point,
got to
it
get up
is.
and move along and go, okay, well, now this is my life. So what are we going to do from here?
Yeah. And to your point, yeah, it's I don't know how to help. And
No,
I think
you
this
do like
oh, I
crazy.
know, no, I know, but like what I can do, like I can control what I can control and I can't control anything else. And that I think your illness is what taught me that and taught me patience and understanding. And even if it's been the most frustrating thing at times, of course there's been times. I'm not going to say there isn't been, but fuck, I've been stressful at times too, and just other ways, you know what I mean? So I guess that's just what I look at. Like, it's just that's something that is a part of your life and who you are, and I'm not going to treat you any different because of that. And I'm always going to try and make it easier because really, what pain does it serve me to just help by like being patient, and that's made me learn to have less control. And I think maybe that's why I was so trying to control in my early 20s, is maybe it's because I felt like I couldn't control what was happening to you. And what I was just saying is like, I don't always know how to help people because I'm not a therapist or doctor or any of those things. The only thing I know how to help with is talking and getting it out and releasing it and having people be heard and seen. And that's why I read the podcast, was so that people could, no matter if they think they have not a unique experience or their story doesn't matter, no one wants to hear it, like, but I do. I want to learn. I want to know more. I want to be more compassionate by understanding other people's experiences. And all it is understanding that maybe you don't know what you're talking about, or maybe your understanding of what you understand is not correct. If that makes sense. Like, if you just hear, oh, fibromyalgia, and you just chalk it up, like Wikipedia is even telling you this is a fucking pain illness. You got diagnosed. I don't really know much more conversation there needs to be had here. Now, people don't have to understand, but to your point, being open to understanding, to getting to know you, to ask the questions in a curious way, not in I see a nice little tan there, not in a like vindictive way. I was just saying, dang, you got some nice brown. I need to catch up before you get here.
And who lives in Kelowna and who doesn't?
Yeah, this is bullshit. I'm so white. I'm too much doing the podcast in here. But I think for me, like, what I kind of want to like end this for is like, yeah, this is fucking awful. And I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel with their invisible illness diagnosis. But what I'm saying is, over time, with work, with people, the right support around you, you can work through figuring out what works for you. And everybody's going to be different. But just know that you can, and that you're going to have shitty days, you're going to have good days. And everyone's experiencing that in all different ways. Unfortunately, your guys's are the illnesses that on the inside that people can't see. So the compassion and understanding and empathy takes a little bit longer to come there, because they actually have to get to know you as a person, because they can't just see your broken arm. They're just like, what do you mean dead arm? And you're like, your arm's right there. I can see it's fucking wrong with you. Pick it up. And you're just like, I can't. Like, I've seen that because I've witnessed it firsthand. So I have that more empathy. And I think if people could just stop reading the headlines and dive a little bit deeper, get to know the person, and then it shows up, right? Like, I'm sure Grant never said anything, but I'm sure at first he was just like, she's got what? And then he met you. And then was just like, oh, I get it now. And now he's immediately to come like, oh, let me get that for you. Let me help you do this. Like, oh, is this a place that your mom can go? Like, okay, we want to go for like a walk. Is this a place that's going to be good for your mom? Like, like it's just, and then it's not even a thing.
That's the hard part too, though. Now
it's not an inconvenience.
Yeah. That's the hard part too, though. It's just like, I'm one of those people that would rather be a wallflower and not be all like, hey, right? And it puts you front and center all the time because it has to do, and you're like, holy shit, I don't want to be that.
I'm not the bride today. That's the
reason why I keep it to I was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person that's like, well, I don't want to be, I don't like
the attention. That's fair. But at least it's just us. But but it's fair to say.
But I'm just saying, in general, I don't think people like that. Like,
no, that's fair.
Maybe some do, but.
And it's just so funny too, like we think about like when you're coming down and we're going to this like concert, this festival during the day. And I can't remember who said it, was like, well, why don't you tell your mom to go? I was like, oh no, like something that she would love to do. It's on concrete for like in the heat in the middle of July, for 6 to 7 hours listening to music. If there was a nice cozy spot for her to sit where she could have some shade and her body could relax, I'm sure she'd be there for the vibes. And like, I wasn't saying that like, no, I wouldn't. I was like, I fucking love my mom to come there. I took her, we went, like we do things, we did things, we've done things. It's not that. It's just like, that's a long ass trip. If it was like an hour and we were doing like a quick little walk around the park and stuff, that's one thing on the nice like grass, but concrete all day in the heat in the middle of July, she will die. Like I'll video from her from there, but it's like, to us it's not, well, and because we don't live with you 24/7, so that is something that to be noted differently, that, you know, you are only here for, you know, 3 weeks out of the year, so it's, you know, like,
and they're the good ones.
They're the best ones. They're the best
right?
ones.
Because,
They're the fun ones.
because it's a perfect time. The summertime
Temperature
is
for
better,
you.
and it's not too crazy hot.
Yeah.
So sometimes better for me to move.
Yeah.
And recover.
Exactly.
Whatever, for whatever reason, unless it goes up and down and up and down. But
and we're doing like nice, like it's like the beach and the grass and like things like that, right? It's not hard concrete. We're not doing things like that. And we just you just make
and I
it
can go in the water and like cool myself down so I'm not like fatigued from heat. And
well, and then menopause on top of that too, right? Like that's a whole other thing that people don't think of. Like you said, as you're aging, those are other things that you're going through on top of all the shit that you go through for that. So it's just like,
I kind of did that already because when you have this, sometimes your period gets ridiculous. Fucked. So I've had a hysterectomy. So
yeah, but other parts of menopause too, right? Like not just the hot flashes. Yeah, but you're going through the menopausal stuff as through fibromyalgia as well. So it's like it's not just that. It was like
back then for sure.
Yeah,
now not so much.
I'm that's
kind of okay.
Yeah, which is great. But but I do like I said, like maybe just want to end with like what I was trying to say. Like, you know, it sucks. It sucks that you go through this. And to your point, yeah, I wish I could take it away. And there's nights where I've cried, not as much now as an adult, because it's like just with anything, time heals a little bit more, or you just like it's not like you get not numb to it, but it's just like it's just like it's not your identity to me. Like I was saying the last episode when we did, you know, like, well, what am I outside of my identity, outside my kids? Because this is everything. This is my life, but I'm trying not to be my identity. And I'm like, well, you're so many other amazing things, but you are held back by your physical inability to be able to do stuff. But you're still like, and I want to say again on this one, and on the one that's not going to air, is like, that has never stopped you from being a supportive and amazing mother. And that I'm just so grateful that although you have been overwhelmed and there has been moments where were you the like tip top shape mom? No, but who the fuck is? But like the fact that you go through all of that and that you didn't beat us, or like, this is where I get so confused with bad, but like, no, I just like think about it. I was like, maybe there are people that beat their kids that go through stuff, but like my mom is going through pain every single day, questioning her life, battling depression, anxiety, learning all these things, and still raising us with all the chaos that we brought at the same time, right? Like, it's such a testament to your strength. And I know that you don't feel that all the time, but it really is true. And like, I am who I am, and I'm strong who I am because of you. And because you let me be that chaotic kid that was creative, and you wanted me to have so much more than, you know, what you could have imagined. And even though you had this illness, you still let me do that. You still, to this day, let me do that. Let me be who I am. And like, that's been able to ripple effect into so many people's lives. And I just think it's so great. And I just don't know who I'd be if you weren't who you were. And I don't know if you'd be who you were if you weren't going through what you were going through.
Well, I definitely wouldn't be who I was without you either, young lady.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you helped me through everything. You helped me freaking learn who I was. You gave me the space to learn who I was. You took the shit to learn whatever, right? And you still love me, so that's great. But yeah, it's like, kind of I look forward to coming down in July because I feel better for one at that time. But I'm with somebody who completely gets me. Like, you know, like completely gets me. And it's like, that's great. That's a vacation in itself.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you're in Cologne, doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah, and on top of it, we happen to live in one of the prettiest places in Canada.
Yeah,
that's just
exactly.
an added bonus.
It's like, oh, darn.
Oh, shit, my daughter moved to Kelowna.
Cherries and peaches.
Fuck, I hate it. Go to the beach every weekend, and 5 minutes down the road, just lie in the lake. But it's just, I think what it is like just coming from a daughter of, you know, like, anybody that has a parent going through this, like, just talk to them. Like, I think that's been our biggest breakthrough, is just being honest and talking about it. But both sides have to drop ego. Both sides have to understand that they maybe have made some mistakes. There's some misunderstanding, and you have to work through it together. It's not easy. It's not easy as a daughter to watch that, to not be mad. I think that is one of the biggest reasons I had problems with God. For a long time, where I wanted to stay. Well, multiple reasons that we've talked about, like just not understanding that you could have a relationship with just him. But I would think constantly growing up, like, our family was religious, and I'd be like, how the fuck can there be a God when he's doing this to my mom? How can there be such this big almighty, how can that be? How can he exist and pain like this could exist in my mom? She hasn't done anything to deserve this. Like, it really had me hating life a lot, knowing that you had that on top of the fear of like, fuck, is this going to happen to me? am I next? And ever since I turned 28, it's always been something that's in the back of my head. Like I said, if I'm feeling a little sluggish, or I have this like weird little like pulse that keeps going around. I'm sure all the fucking witches, nurses are going to say that they're parasites or whatever. But, you know, like some of those things, I'm like, oh my God, am I starting to have the spasms? Like, is this a band? Is there certain places that are triggers for me? And also in the last episode, I also said something that I didn't say on this episode too. One misconception is, we'll just go to massage, go to acupuncture, go to physiotherapy. This isn't one of those things that you can go and do that for. And I still wanted to, on this episode, shout out Brie, because he's one of the only masseuses, if not the only, that mom would actually let her be able to work with, because she's so patient and she understands and she knows how to work around those sensitive things. But that is not something that people with your condition can generally, like, if I'm all stiff, I can go to the chiro, I can go to massage, they can work out these things. I just wanted people to also understand that's not how that works with fibro and myofascial pain. It's not something, it's very painful.
Because so you want to do the release and you don't, because it hurts like hell. And poor Brie, I'm like, she'd do it and she's like, oh my God. And I'd be like, just do it. Right? And be like, I'm gonna scream, and I'm like, oh, or whatever, and she's like, oh shit, and I'm like, just do it. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna feel pain anyways, but at least trying to push something out, because when you're that tight, it's like to explain it, when you're that tight everywhere, it's like you are dying like the Tin Man, and you want somebody to come and oil you. Yeah. Right. So just even though it's painful, just to even have those break from that
full-on tension,
that full-on inflammation, pressure all the time to stop, right? Like it's so a lot of people don't do massages, but it's more helpful if I have a hot stone, so that it kind of maybe loosens it up a little bit. But yeah, Brie was awesome, and I'll do that.
Can I? She'll be here. She'll be here in July. Okay. Yeah. We convinced her to stay. She's staying.
And that's another thing too. Is like, it's another thing. I was like, people always say they want to help you. They'll, oh, do this, try this thing, try this thing, try this thing, and they're like so caring, and I like that about trying to help a person. But I've been through the amount of money I spent on vitamins and therapies and whatever. It doesn't work. Like, and I even went to 2 times to go get injections into these trigger points, which cause a lot of pain on the skin for the fibro part, a lot of bruises, trying to unlock some of the stuff so that I can move, and then go to a massage after. And then after I kind of get unlocked, go to massage and try to push all that stuff out. I mean, if I could do that on a regular basis, maybe that might help.
Yeah. Rich in this economy.
It still doesn't. And I mean, to get the injections into those spots, like I said, you touch it and push it, but to get injections, I had to bring things to bite into. But we're faking it.
Yes.
Like, because we want to go do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like,
want to live a life.
Jesus. But yeah, tried a lot of things.
Yeah. No, one thing too, I wanted to maybe ask you too, like, if anybody is, not just specifically fibro, but anybody dealing with invisible illness, do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Oh, first of all, you're not crazy. You can't help it. It isn't not your fault. Please pace yourself. Learn how to pace. You have to learn how to pace, and you really have to learn to let things go. I liked what you said about the ego stuff, because I think that is the hardest thing, is like you're letting go everything that you ever knew or you ever wanted to do or you ever were, quote unquote, especially as a woman or a man. Even I can't say that just a woman, because men get this too and it's hard for them. Mm-hmm. It's an expectation. You're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that. And when you can't, you lose yourself. If you can't work and you put that in as your part of your identity, to like, your self-confidence comes from doing that or whatever, just know that it's not your fault. And you have to learn to let that go, and you have to learn to let go what other people think of you in a big way. Mm-hmm. Like, if they're not there for it, if they're not understanding that
it's not their butt on fire, they don't get to decide.
So with fibro and with myofascia, all those things, stress is huge in bringing on flares. It's huge in, like I've said before, all of a sudden the top of my foot would just burn in this one spot, and it just would burn, and it was like so painful. And I ended up finding out later that was kind of an indicator that I needed to stop doing repetitive things and get my stress under control, because it was telling me. So I would have to say you really need to have your stress,
your environment check.
Yeah. And which comes with
time too.
Ego. It comes with your ego, and let it go. And it's just like, like I always say, I feel like a burden. I feel like a burden. And you're like, well, you're not a burden. And I have to learn to
fucking saying that is.
I know. Well, I have to learn to let it.
Yes.
Let it go and be okay. Which is easier said than done.
Oh God, yeah.
But it really helps a lot. And don't be worried to get people to help you, which I'm still trying.
You're doing good,
I'm
though.
not perfect. I'm still trying. Good. I always try to do this and that and this, because I don't want to be, somebody that needs to be taken care of, or whatever. I take care of people. People don't take care of me. Right?
Agreed.
So to learn to let that go. And there's more people out there than you think there are. There's a lot of us, and reach out to them.
Yes, find a
reach
community.
out to them, have a conversation with them. And another thing that I have to learn is like, I'm loved for the person who I am, not what I can do.
100%.
Which, that is still
a whole new concept for you. We're learning.
Well, that is still very much needed work,
but we're getting there, though, and we're in a better environment too. And I think the last episode we said too, there's a lot different, like you said, when you're first going through this in the first 25 years, I think it's fair to say, you had babies that your spoons were being given to. All of us needed to take those spoons more. But now we're more obviously independent adults. We're doing our things. We still need you. We still rely on you, of course. But it's not the physicality of it. It's not having to go get the groceries, having to take care of the home, do the laundry, do the drop-offs, do all those things. So now you can respect your body, and you can then participate in other things in life that maybe you missed out on when you were just giving those spoons to your kids. Now you're like, okay, well, now I can take the time to figure out what does really push me when I'm walking, how much walking is too much, how much gardening is too much. And that can change, obviously, but you can then be more aware of what you're doing.
Yeah. The thing of it now is that I don't have anybody to answer to if I do fall.
You need a day.
But I also don't have anybody to take care.
If you do, a little bit far.
But in the same token, I can push my limit more, because I don't have to come home and cook dinner. I don't have to make sure that, my kids are this. And, I can just go, okay, I can just go to bed, and nobody's going to sit here and call me a lazy piece of crap because I needed to go to bed.
Totally. Or when you're around us, right? That's where you say you can be yourself, and then you don't have to worry. It's just I'm going to type. We're like, okay, great. I mean, I'm always into my research and doing stuff and I think that's the greatest thing. I'm like, oh, you're good, right? You need to, I'm going to lie there. Okay, I'm going to go watch this, or we'll watch TV together, right? It's just learning, and for advice from someone that lives with that, be compassionate, ask questions, clarify stuff, especially with something like this, right? You can't just assume oh, she's just lying down. Okay, what's going on? Is there a way I can support you? Just ask. I think that's the biggest thing. Is there anything I can support you with? And they'll tell you. And that's where I said ego needs to drop, where, the person receiving needs to be like, yes, please. I just need some time, or I need to this, and you're going to lose people, but you're going to lose people no matter what. And people are always going to have
you know what? I think that if you're going to lose people,
they're not your people.
Are they your people?
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? But I do know that there is a point where, people, they don't know how to handle that very much. And so they pull themselves away because they can't help you. They can't fix you. So it makes them feel completely hopeless. And right. So they pull away too. And,
and I get that. Yeah. And I quickly just wanted to share, I pulled a statistic actually from myhealthalberta.ca, just so that people understand. So it's about 2% of the population. So 500,000 Canadians have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And that's just people that have been diagnosed. That's not necessarily. So,
and it's
500,000 of people.
And you think about the MS too, and the lupus, Canada is notorious for MS. So, and the symptoms of MS
very similar.
very similar.
Yeah.
They cross, a lot of the stuff crosses over,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's a lot of people. And I find on my fibro sites and all that kind of stuff, so many more right now coming really fast.
Yeah.
A lot of people coming to these sites now. I was just like, oh my God.
My gosh. Well, it makes
It's
sense.
like, oh,
Makes
but yeah,
sense.
reach out to people that understand, have
And
that
there's
conversation.
a community.
It's almost like AA where you need a sponsor buddy.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like maybe you need a fibro sponsor buddy.
Yeah. Or just a support.
Or a few of them so that you're not always
on one person
when they're all drinking with fibro. Yeah, because
fucking job of dumping too much.
Like I had a fibro group in town here in Fort, and I did that for a while, and we was just like, okay, is there going to be anybody show up? Because a lot of people like
they're tired.
They're too tired. It's like, okay, what's the best time? Trying to figure it out. You know, we had a few people, and it was nice to know that there was other people in the same town as you or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, reach out to people and even just talk about your symptoms on that site or whatever. Yeah. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk about what's going on with you. It's not like you chose it. Mm-mm. It chose you. So
it did for some reason. Like, please choose me less.
And you never know who you'll help when you're talking about this.
100%. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because I have people in my life that are a little bit younger that are as well diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And, you know, they worry about what the next 20, 30 years are going to look like. And it's like, well, you can't, like you said, you can't change the diagnosis, unfortunately. So what are the things that you can do? And I think treating yourself as a science experiment almost in a way is one of the best things, is like, okay, write it down if you can. Like, I know that's hard. And now we have voice notes, right? Like there's so much more information out there to learn about it and to, you know, but it's just trial and error. You are a science experiment. You got to figure it out. And sometimes the results will be different. And I think if you can look at it from like a data collection, like, you know, scientific kind of view of like, okay, like doctors unfortunately aren't going to help me. No one really has an answer. There's people that are going to be there to support me and hold me up. But like, it's kind of on me to advocate for myself and to like write down, to understand what are my boundaries. Okay. You know, like walking uphill, not great. Walking downhill, great. I'm not saying that, but you know, like understanding that, you know, and I know that's probably backwards.
Understanding your limitations and staying in them, or you, just like I said, you pace yourself, you use the spoon method, analogy, which is a very, very smart thing to do, and learn to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
Like if I'm sitting there and I can't remember how to spell, and it's nice because I'm kind of surrounded by people that kind of go through
and
some of those
daughter,
things,
so.
and we can just freaking laugh, and it's just like, or I'm sitting there and I'm trying to get words out, and the person is like the same way, and they have a hard time getting words out, and it's just like, and so I'm just sitting there, I'm like, okay, and they're patient, or I'm patient, and it's okay, and they're all like fluttery because it's like, fuck, I can't get these words out, and I just feel like an idiot. But you just sit there, it's like, you're all good. Yeah, I know. It'll come. Hey, just walk in that room. Come back in here. That's going to happen for you. You know,
exactly.
Just try and laugh.
It takes, because it's too stressful.
And just go and laugh at yourself and freaking, you know, it's all you can do.
Yeah, and you didn't choose this, but you can choose for the most part, and you're going to have your days, how you react to it and how you're going to move forward. There's no...
And that's one thing that, like, people are like, oh, like I've had somebody just sit here. I had no idea you have that. Like you're giggling and laughing all the time. I'm like,
well, do you want me to be fucking depressed and like bum?
I'm like, that's my therapy. I want to do that.
Healing.
Because I need to do that. Like I need to do that, and I try to look into the funny things and the good things and the, you know, those kinds of things instead of all the crap things. I mean, I look at crap things and go down.
I was like, but she researches on the show. That's one thing too. We've been down our holes.
But is if you can disassociate and you learn to disassociate your pain and doing all that kind of stuff, you learn to disassociate that kind of stuff too, where you've learned that you can't get yourself down to that level of despair, of sadness or depression, or let it overcome you and consume you. Right? It's just like, okay. And I think sometimes I think that's why it's brought me here today. It's just like, okay, crazy things are happening, and I don't take that as like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, or
just go with the flow.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? It is what it is, and okay, let's look at the good part of that. Okay, what did I learn from that? You know, but this is more recent too, in the last however many years. Whereas just you can't control it, and why try?
Why bother? Well, not why try. Like, you can only control your four walls and do the best that you can. and you just flow with it. And some days are good or some days are bad. And I think we were very people pleasing, controlling, anxious people once upon a time. And we've grown from that, and we've realized that that actually puts us in more distress and more, and we're just going with the flow and practicing gratitude. That wasn't something that we practiced prior to. Like, those are things we just didn't know. We've learned and gone through our spiritual awakenings together. And I think going through that has been able to open up pathways for you to be able to work through this and work with things and work with your body. And like you said, you're not responsible to anybody, and like maybe a little bit more when you're here. But even then, we're just like, oh, okay, today's not the day. All right, we tried tomorrow, or like change the plans. We'll play board games. Like, we're just so malleable. It's like, oh, we're going to sit in and watch movies and eat snacks. Okay, great. Oh, I'm feeling good today. Let's go for a walk. Okay, great. Like, it's very much, like I said, it's your invisible illness has shaped me into a person. I think the best parts of me, if that makes sense. I don't know if that sounds terrible, but I think that it has cultivated the best parts of my personality is having a mother with an invisible pain disorder disease.
Thing. Yeah. And I could go down the guilt train and just like, oh my God, but you have turned into an amazing, amazing woman despite all that.
Exactly.
So it helps me go, okay, right? Okay.
This is the lessons we picked to learn together. Yeah. In our soul contracts here, right? Yeah. So,
well, that's very true.
Right? So it's like, I picked this, and like at the end of the day, what net negative does it have? Are you still an amazing mother? Yeah. Has the support changed? No. Have we done things? Lots of things. Our relationship has grown exponentially over the years, even as we've deepening the understandings of what we're going through now. Like you said, yeah, you hold guilt, and like there was things that we went through, but then once I learned all this and understand that anger towards that resentment from like teenage years or something all disappeared. Where I was like, oh fuck, okay, how could she even do this? Now I'm an adult and I'm like barely handling 3 cats. I'm like, motherfucker, I have 3 kids, like, and we do appreciate as we get older. I think we just should, right?
It happens normal life, right?
Yeah, of course. Like, it's not just like just because of you, but like I said, it's made me understand mental illness and invisible illness, and not to believe everything that I see, and that just because I see something or I think something originally, like, and I'm not saying I don't judge or I don't do those things, but I've been like, I'm more quick to flip my brain and my thought process because of knowing you and what you go through. And like, I feel like I'm a more empathetic person. I feel like my mission of trying to get people to be heard started because I felt like you weren't being heard. And so like all of those things really tie into who I am as a person and what I feel like my purpose is. So like any of the guilt, like, you work through that. I'm not telling you what to do, but like, it shouldn't be there because I feel like it propelled me to be the best version that I am, and to have gratitude and really appreciate my body and my physical abilities, and to really fucking give it everything. I mean, Cody and Ashley and Tyler dying at my early 20s, like, that definitely solidified like living life to the fucking fullest, because like, not only that, but it was that. So it was like, okay, I'm either gonna fucking get fibromyalgia and I'm gonna die young. Like, I need to like live life to the fullest. But I just encourage everyone, like I said, as a child or family or friend, to ask questions, build a space that's safe for that person to be able to do that, and have boundaries too. Like, I'm not always going to let you sit in that, and you don't anymore, but you did before. And now, you've found ways of picking yourself back up. It's not your fault. It's not your choice, but you've repatterned those so it doesn't put at like a strain. And not that it did before, but then you're constantly like, wow, my mom is in pain all the time and there's literally nothing I could do. Like, the most helpless. Like, just when we go through stuff and you can't really do anything for us, it's the same thing, right? It's the absolute same thing. So yeah, it does come with that. But cultivating a safe space where I know that you can come talk to me, you can be yourself, like that's what you can do as a family member, is just cultivate that safe space. You're not going to be able to always help them with everything, but do what you can control the controllables and the support. And one of the biggest ones is mentally, right? So it's just listening, and don't let them wallow in it. Like, but you just have to cultivate the change in the subject, move things on, put it to you, like, and that's why when I always talk to you, I always try to come, like, not come up, but I'm like, look at all these things that we could talk about, just in case if you're just like, oh, I had a week where I just really couldn't do much, and I don't want you to feel bad about, like, then that's the answer. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some onus on building that relationship and building safe space, whether that's someone's physical illness, mental illness, invisible illness. That's what we do for people we love. So, absolutely. Okay, maybe yours is physical, but I've had a lot of mental illnesses to work through, addiction, all that kind of stuff, that you helped me right through. To me, there's no fucking difference. It just looks different. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I just think we just want people to just be more understanding and ask questions, and we're all going to judge. We're all going to be the first to judge. It happens. I'm not going to say don't judge. because you're going to, but I would encourage you to look into things more and be more curious with your judgments than, like, I don't think judgments are bad. I think when we like judge ourselves and stuff, like, it holds us to a certain standard.
Yeah.
But it's when you're mistreating someone because of that judgment or that preconceived notion. Like,
well, even just
she's
to
not
show
doing.
them.
Yeah, just be like, hey, what's going on? What is that like?
Yeah. Just to show the people that have this that you've actually tried to understand what it is.
Yeah.
Because, and then that is huge. Like, oh my God, they actually are trying to understand what I'm going through.
And you might not understand it or relate, but you could be like, okay, I can see how that's hard. I can't feel it, but I can understand how that's hard for you. And then you see it more and more when you get to know that person. You're like, okay, now I fully fucking get it, right? Like, I see that struggle. Like, why? Why would you be going to the beach and want to walk slow? Like, we got shit to do. You're a busybody person, right? So it's just
and that's funny. You want to walk slow. Things like that always brings me back, especially at that time. I'm like, I'd go to try and get myself to go to the grocery store to get food for dinner to actually make me move out of the house so that I didn't stay in my depression or into like, I don't have a purpose. I don't just be like sitting there. But it would be so bad some days, and I was to push myself anyways. And you've got these grannies in their walker, and they're flying past you, and you're just thinking, "Holy fuck!"
I hate this. I'm gonna get you a mobile. We're gonna get you a Mario Kart cart soon.
You don't have a choice, and here you are. But whatever, and all you can sit there and do is like
humbling.
Go, Granny, go.
Yeah, like you go, Glen Coco, you go. But it's like all those things, right? That people just have to be compassionate and understanding. So if you see someone that has a handicap sticker that might be in there that might look like a normal person, just know that they could have, chronic pain. They could have, there's many reasons. So just like, again, those judgments are going to come up, but it's how you treat the person. It's how get curious instead of getting criticisms.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
For people like, for me, I try to have empathy for other people and what they could be, their understanding of it. I try to do that.
Yeah.
In all senses. I don't right away get pissed off if they don't understand it or do whatever, because, I get it.
Yeah.
Will you be in my life a lot? Like, if you don't want to do that, well, that probably won't work out, and that's the way it's supposed to go. But
that's fine.
Like, I try to have compassion for people that don't understand and just sit there and go, okay, well, they don't understand.
Yeah. Next.
They choose not to take the time to understand or whatever, and that's their thing, and try not to take that, like you said, so strongly to heart.
Yeah, because it's really just
from both ways.
Yeah, it's just where people are. I leave them where they at. Okay, you don't understand. Okay, cool. Well, I have this. This is where I'm at. You want to come hang out? Great. You don't? Great. I have people that love me, and we're good. I don't need to add more. I don't need to explain myself to you. I'm here, who I am. You want to be a part of it? Great. You don't? Great. Like, we're like, it is what it is. C'est la vie. It's que sera, sera. Like, great. We've got family. We've got people around us. We've got the people that we care about. And if you want to join, great. If not, I don't care. Your karma, not mine. Right. And so, like, that's just where I always think is like, karma comes around, maybe not in this lifetime. So just be more curious and compassionate with people. And really, truly, unless it's hurting you, why does it fucking matter? Right. Like, that's where I'm kind of at. That's kind of where I'm at. But I also like commend everyone that does have a family member, like, like either like not even just like invisible illness with cancer or, MS or, and that's a visible one. Any of those things, like, it is not easy. And so I just think we should all give grace because we don't know what people are going through. And maybe even if a person flies off the handle at you, maybe they just, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they just found out that their cancer is back and they have a tumor, or maybe they're in the middle of a flare up and their arm is numb and now they're just trying to get home, or maybe they're on a medication that they trusted with their doctor and they have no fucking idea where they are or what's going on because they're just trying to figure out how to make themselves feel like a normal person. So, I think this was amazing. 100% positive this is going to post on Friday. Look at us nailing the second episode, Mama. Thank you so much. But I appreciate you sharing what that's like, because I think a lot of people, whether they have on a large scale, like invisible illness, fibromyalgia, there's a scale of all of them, right? So like some people might have a little bit, some might have a lot, some people might have it worse, and it might manifest very different for other people. But at the end of the day, it's you going through a pain, whether that's like mentally, and I'm not talking about like the neurological, I'm like mental illness, or inside that people don't see, and just to have more compassion with people around you and ask questions. And if you have it, don't be afraid to reach out. If you want to reach out to Mom directly, like obviously tag her. If you want to reach out to me to get in contact to those groups, like there are people out there, there's support, and there's people that love you. Like you said, you are for who you are, not what you can do. But Woman makes a mean cookie. She's fucking hilarious. She's great at cards. You just have to shuffle for her. She's great. She's great at being a passenger and telling me how to drive. No, I'm just kidding. But I just want everyone.
You're the one that's the passenger
awful.
and tell you how to.
Yeah, 100%. But just meaning like you guys are more than your invisible illness, and I'm really glad that you see that and you see that you're an amazing mom and that you want to help others by speaking out today with your experience so that they don't feel as alone. So thank you, Mom, again.
Yeah, no problem. I hope more people start speaking out about it. I know that's it gets a little scary to think about doing that, and that they will probably be misunderstood, but that's other people's problem.
Yeah, we're a bunch of misfits of the misfit toy island, right? Like we're all broken in our own ways. Like you'll find your people, and honestly, not to be that way, but naysayers build character. Like you just that's something you need to work through. It's just people's opinions online. Like they're like stink stars. Everyone has one. We don't have to care about them. Just keep your stink star clean and in your own business, and that's all that matters. And I think that's a perfect way to end this episode. Get your stink star clean. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I truly appreciate the support. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please follow the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. You can also find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, guys. Bye!